What's up, Dad?
Okay. So, Bugs, what is up in the sky? And as we look to the heavens, let's marvel at the cosmos and the wondrous things in store for us this month. But as astronomers, dreamers, we sometimes forget practical things and need to think about those. I also feel bad for the Zoom crowd at home. And normally we have, treats and coffee set up here. So for all of you folks at home, I wanted to, there we go. For all you folks at home, I wanted to make sure you have the same thing that we normally have here. So here are your virtual coffee and donuts. Meteors of May. Sometimes the meaning of life hits you like a meteorite. Ain't it the truth? This was said by Curtis Tyrone Jones. Curtis Jones is an author and emotional alignment coach, whatever that is. And to be honest, I just like the quote, so I included it for meteors. Let's talk about Sir Edmund Halley for a moment, because that'll lead into our first meteorite shower. In 1680, Sir Edmund Halley observed a comet in Paris, and working with astronomer Giovanni Cassini, successfully determined its orbit, predicting its return every 76 years. The comet was named in Halley's honor by French astronomer Nicolas Louis Lasserre in 1759. As the comet passes, it sheds off part of its core, which annually falls to Earth through the constellation Aquarius. The star in Etis Aquaria is the focal point for the meteor shower, and thus it's named after it. The Eta Aquarii meteor shower is active between April 19th and May 28th. It peaks midnight to dawn on May 6th. While it favors the southern hemisphere, it will appear low in the sky for northern latitudes early in pre-dawn hours this month. There will be a lunar occultation of Delta Scorpii in the constellation Scorpius. This occultation is an event that occurs when one object is hidden from another by the observer by another object that passes between them. The moon will pass in front of Delta Scorpii, creating a lunar occultation visible from the countries and territories of Antarctica, Brazil, Argentina, Chile, among a few others. And here you can see the path of the occulation. Anybody going down to this? Oh, okay. The Lyrid meteor shower will peak on the evening of May 9th. The shower will be active from 3rd of May to the 14th of May, producing, unfortunately, only about 1 to 3 meteorites per hour. Around May 9th, over this period, there will be a chance of seeing meteors whenever the shower's radiant point is, the shower's radiant point will be in the constellation Lyra. And whenever it's above the horizon, you will be able to see the shower. From our area, the radiant point is above the horizon all night, which means that the shower will be active throughout the hours of darkness. Radiant point culminates at its highest point in the sky after dawn around 5 a.m. And so the shower will likely produce its best display shortly before dawn, when its radiant point is at its highest. The sun, with all its planets revolving around it and depending on it, still can ripen a bunch of grapes as if it had nothing else in the world to do. And that was a saying by Galileo. Um, May is most notable for its being the turning point of the year, where the temperature rises and a vast variety of flowers come into bloom. The full moon is known as the planting moon. Um, as such, May's full moon, as I said, has become known as the flower moon or planting moon. The Ashkenazi people call it the blossom moon. The Apache and Lakota named May's full moon the green leaf moon, while the Mohawk call it the big leaf moon. There is also one plant that, aside from flowers, that's very important in May to uh, Native American people, and that's corn. It's an important staple for First Nations people, and as such, there are festivals to celebrate the new moon in May. The Cherokee call May's full moon the Ashkenazi moon or the planting moon, and traditionally perform a corn dance during this period to encourage a fruitful harvest. Where did he come from? Anyway, here we have the phases of the moon during May. The moon will be in its last quarter on May 12th. An interesting an event coming up this month, very unique. It's called the Black Moon of May. Most seasons have only 3 new moons, occurring every 33 months. This year, spring, holds 1 extra moon. This is known as the Black Moon. Black moons hold special significance to people who practice various pagan religions. They believe that certain actions become more potent when performed on the night of a black moon. The second planet from the sun is Venus, and the only terrestrial body in our solar system other than the Earth that has a substantial atmosphere and is almost as massive as the Earth. Venus orbits the sun always closer than the Earth, resulting in it appearing as either in the sky as either the morning star or the evening star. With a magnitude of minus 4.3, Venus reaches its highest altitude at just after sunset on May 8th. The globular cluster M5, also known as the Rose Cluster, resides in Serpens. It will be in a well-placed altitude in the evening sky in the coming weeks, and on May 12th, it'll reach its highest point. This is something that would be best seen, obviously, with binoculars or a small telescope. Here we see, and I should turn on the pointer, but hold on, let me turn that on. Okay. Here you see M5 just within the boundaries of Serpens, as noted on the night of May 12th. It'll reach its highest point in the sky. Look for Arcturus, the brightest star in the constellation Bootes, and down from the left, down and to the left, you'll find M5. It will appear as a patch of light through binoculars. The conjugation of the moon and Saturn will occur on May 13th. The moon and Saturn will share the same right ascension, with the moon passing 3 degrees 17 minutes to the south of Saturn. The moon will be 23 days old. At around the same time, the two objects will make a close approach, which, as you know, is called an appulse. The date of this is May. I'm sorry, I've got it here. It should be on the screen, but center.
Press the left arrow to go back.
Oh, yeah, there, I'm sorry, May 17th. No, no, that's yeah, I'm sorry, the 13th, May 13th. Thanks. Sorry about that. May 13th. On May 17th, you have a lunar occultation of Jupiter. This will occur at 12:40 GMT or 8:40 a.m. Eastern Standard Time or Eastern Daylight Time. Jupiter's magnitude will be 2.1 and will appear behind the moon, the magnitude of minus 9.4 in the constellation of Pisces. The lunar occultation will be visible from parts of the Americas and Europe. The objects will be well seen by the naked eye, but you may take a binoculars, a small telescope for an even better view. Don't forget to check with Sky Tonight, the app, for when the lunar occultation will be visible from your location. And just as a note, the occultation of Moon and Jupiter on the 17th, you'll be lucky and may be able to catch a bright moon at 8:40 in the morning, and possibly the occultation. You'll most likely be able to catch the beginning of it around 5 a.m. And follow it onwards from there.
Did you happen to notice how long it will last?
Um,
Or does it just disappear that night?
no, actually, it disappears that night. If I read it correctly, it's visible, unfortunately, all day long, but you won't be able to see it. And you may be able to catch it just after sunset. I'm trying to see if I have a note when. I'm sorry, well, sunrise, yes, the best time to catch it. It'll be visible. It will be there all day, but you won't be able to see it. And just after sunset.
The application in the daylight or right after sunrise?
Just right after sunrise, just at sunrise, just slightly before sunrise. The occultation will actually occur at 8:40 a.m. So you'll be able to catch it just before the actual occultation at about 5:30, 6 o'clock, just as the two are brightest in the sky. And then you may still be able to catch it at 8:40 in the morning as the sun rises.
You need a telescope to see, but Jupiter would be bright enough
Yeah, Jupiter should be bright enough, right?
behind the moon.
Behind the moon. Thank you. The conjunction of the moon and Venus will occur on May 23rd. It also will be at its closest approach of the two objects. The moon and Venus will share the same right ascension, with the moon passing 2 degrees 12 minutes to the north of Venus. The moon will be 4 days old at that point. At that time, the two objects will also make their closest approach, or appulse. From our area, the pair will be visible in Gemini from soon after Venus rises at 8:24 a.m. until soon just before it sets at 23:41. The moon and Mars will share the same right ascension, with the moon passing 3 degrees 45 minutes to the north of Mars. The moon will be 5 days old at this point. The two objects will also make their close approach at the same time. From our area, the pair will be visible from just after Mars rises at about 9:42 a.m. until soon before it sets at 0:25. The moon will be at magnification minus 11.0, and Mars will be at magnification 1.5, both in the constellation of Cancer. The first quarter moon will be visible when it rises at 12:19 on May 27th until just before it sets at 0200. At this point, it is in its monthly cycle, the moon appears most exactly about half illuminated. The moon orbits the Earth once every 4 weeks, causing it to cycle through its phases once every 29.5 days. Let me pull this back up. The globular cluster M4, also known as the crab or spider globular cluster, can be found in the constellation Scorpius. On May 28th, it will be well placed for observation with binoculars in a sufficiently dark location or with a telescope. From our area, M4 is visible between 02100 and 0443. It will become accessible around 0221 hours when it rises to an altitude of 20 degrees above the horizon, the southern horizon. It will reach its highest point in the sky at 0332 at 22 degrees and become accessible around 0443 when it sinks below, become inaccessible, at 0443 when it sinks below the horizon. That's again the southern horizon. Mercury will reach its greatest elongation or separation from the sun on May 29th. Pardon me. It will be shining brightly at a magnitude of 0.4. From our area, it might be difficult to see as it rises almost due east and slightly before the sun at roughly 5:30 a.m. and slightly west of Mercury. Mercury will reach its peak altitude of 11 degrees above the horizon at sunrise on June 6th. We have a unique event that happens only twice a year, and that is something known as Manhattanhenge. Now, Manhattanhenge, the term was first coined by Neil deGrasse Tyson, and it is the point where, and that happens at about 8 p.m. when the sun will line up with 42nd Street and Fifth Avenue to create a sunset glow. Things to keep in mind if you want to photograph this event. A tripod's a must. Hang on, I'm sorry, I lost my place. Tripod's a must. Using a shutter release on the camera or a timer for the shot is also a must. Use a telephoto lens of somewhere between 18 and 85 millimeters or 70 to 200 millimeters to frame the shot. For a starburst effect, you need to choose an aperture of f11 or f22, but f11 would probably work well. Slow down the shutter speed and slightly boost the ISO. You'll need to play with these settings in order to get it right. Most of Manhattan's east-west streets, by the way, are aligned at about 29 degrees in angle and are clockwise from true east and true east-west. So twice each year, a couple of weeks before and a couple of weeks after summer and winter solstice, the azimuth of the sunset is at 29 degrees northward of due west. The setting sun will align with the east-west streets at that moment and as it sits on the horizon. And so that's Manhattanhenge. Something to keep in mind if you want to go in and try and photograph that. So sort of wrapping this up, we have I always like to include a note of trivia. And May is the month that Sally Ride was born, May 26th, 1951, in Los Angeles, California. She was the first woman astronaut to enter space on June 18th, 1983. In May of 87, Ride announced that she was leaving NASA to take up a 2-year fellowship at Stanford University Center for International Security and Arms Control. Her colleagues at Stanford included Condoleezza Rice and specialized on the Soviet Union. Ride research was meant to kind of expose when nuclear warheads could be counted and verified from space. But the impending end of the Cold War made this a much less pressing issue. On June 1st of 1989, Ride became a professor of physics at the University of California, San Diego, and director of the California Space Institute, CalSpace. And there we have it. And thanks very much. Any questions or comments or whatever I got wrong? Yeah.
Yeah, Mike, what do you say about the lunar, meteor shower? Is that the second meteor shower? The first meteor, Linus, meteor shower.
Yeah, I'm going to go back just to make sure I covered. The first meteor shower to come up, this month is the Eta Aquarid meteor shower peaking on May 6th. The Lyrid meteor shower, there we go, is the second one to come up on May 9th. Neither of which, as far as I did on my research, unless Dave can probably help me out on this one, produce a bumper crop of meteorites. The fall meteor showers, I think, have much bigger numbers.
Well, the meteor shower has two showers, one in April, one in May.
No, it actually spans the Lyrids. There we go. The Lyrids, it's active from May 3rd through.
There's one in April.
Yeah, April 21st.
April 21st.
May, on May 9th. They only have one peak.
Supposedly, according to what's in the sky for the month, it peaks on May 9th. But
Will it have a second peak? There's two different showers, actually. Also, if it's two different showers, that should be two different names. It can be the same shower from April 21st peak.
That's a good question, and that I'm not sure of. All I know is the Lyrid meteor shower, according to what's up in May. Go ahead.
Closest prime star within the constellation. I just picked it off and it's like a delta with Zeta. Just forget which one it's with, but it's a minor region. That's why you see the total count less.
All right, I'll check it up on that. Yeah.
Any other questions? Comments?
Right.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
I forgot to mention that next week